There is one very predictable thing the covert narcissist always does, and that's what I'm covering today. Let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Tamie M. Joyce. I'm the founder of Tamie M Coaching, and I run a powerful 8-week transformational coaching program called the Freedom Class, specific to healing and recovery from codependency and narcissistic abuse. If that's of interest to you, be sure to stick around until the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly how you can learn more about my programs. So let's talk about the one very predictable thing that covert narcissists always do. Now, before I dive into the nitty-gritty of what the covert narcissist gets up to, I want to touch on the difference between overt or grandiose narcissism and covert narcissism, as well as point out some of the telltale signs that will help you to figure out whether or not the person you're dealing with is in fact a covert narcissist. Now, to begin with, covert narcissism is a subtype or subgroup of the destructive narcissist personality pattern. Furthermore, destructive narcissism, whether that be overt or covert, the personality pattern is on a spectrum, a continuum, meaning these issues are never black or white. There is a spectrum, a continuum to the personality pattern we're discussing. So, a destructive narcissist personality pattern will manifest in varying degrees from one individual to another. Now that said, it's also important to understand that the covert narcissist will present very differently than their more overt or grandiose counterparts. Unlike the grandiose narcissist, the covert narcissist will seem shy and reserved initially, meek even. And although they are certainly socially awkward when meeting new people, the truth is they often use withholding behavior to emotionally manipulate and control others. And they do this in their friendships, their family relationships, as well as their romantic relationships. They'll appear to be extremely private people, but bizarrely so, to the point of hiding themselves and keeping secrets. The kind of things that one would normally share with close personal friends or in any genuine relationship, in the spirit of simply being honest and upfront. These are the things that the covert narcissist will keep from you, and for no apparent reason. They hold their cards very close to their chest, which, in my opinion, speaks to how insecure and shame-based they actually are. But there's more to it than that. Being in the know and knowing something that you don't gives them a sense of power and superiority in their mind. Underneath their demure and self-effacing facade, they actually believe they're better than everyone else and therefore feel entitled to lie by omission. With few exceptions, they prefer to keep family and friends at a safe distance, lest they be exposed. The idea is the less you know, the better. And this is one reason why they allow very few people to get close to them. Most of their relationships can be characterized as superficial, with no real depth, because frankly, they aren't capable of it. They don't have the emotional and psychological equipment to tolerate real and genuine closeness, or openness for that matter. They're too busy hiding, again, who they are and what they really think and feel. And they lie a lot. So you have to be kept at a safe distance. They hide and lie about people, places, and things. They hide and lie about money. And of course, they hide and lie about the past and any responsibility of their own that led to the demise of previous friendships and relationships. And for those of you who are highly empathic, this tendency they have to be so secretive is your first clue. Attempting to genuinely connect with a covert narcissist leaves an empath with an inexplicably uneasy feeling in their stomach. In my view, it's because there's nothing of real substance to connect with. And as empaths, we can feel that emotionally and energetically. And this is because they're really just going through the motions with you. So when you get that strange, disconnected feeling in the pit of your stomach, don't ignore it. It's one of your first clues when attempting to authentically relate to or connect with a covert narcissist. Again, try as you may, there's nothing of real substance to connect with, which then leads me to my next point. They are not authentic or genuine. Although they're good at acting as if they are, but if you hang out with them long enough, you'll soon find out just how disingenuous they actually are. In fact, it usually won't be long before you notice their words and actions seldom align. They talk a good talk, but aren't very good at walking the walk. In reality, they can only feign love or respect, genuine care, compassion, and concern. But once you get to know who they really are, you'll realize you have mounting evidence as to just how unloving, uncaring, and insecure they are in reality. They are fundamentally fake, phony people who do not appreciate, sincerely care about, or love anyone, not even their own children or stepchildren for that matter. Again, they'll talk a good talk, but a closer look at their choices or lack of action-based love, genuine care, compassion, and common sense, concern in particular, in relation to really big issues, will tell you everything you need to know about who and what you're dealing with. Although they act meek and timid, make no mistake, it's an act, a performance. These people are about as fragile as a Mack truck. The reality is, beneath the mask and false persona, they want to believe they're better than everyone else and therefore feel entitled to behave however they like. They seldom, if ever, worry about the negative effects of their appalling choices and behavior on others. They feel entitled to do whatever they want and believe that somehow they're above having to experience actual consequences. And when they do have to face the music and pay the price for their poor choices and behavior, such as you've had your fill and you're done with the nonsense, they're shocked. They can't believe you've figured them out. They can't believe you have the audacity to not be fooled by their "I'm such a good human" performance. They can't believe you have standards, limits, and boundaries. It really is a form of delusional thinking. They actually do not expect to have to suffer consequences for their choices, obvious transgressions, and the relationship crimes they commit. Again, they feel entitled to do whatever they want and are astounded when they encounter any sort of pushback or experience the natural consequences of their decisions, the decisions they've made or promises they've broken. As far as they're concerned, they can disappoint, disregard, disrespect, and ignore you all day long. But when you have an issue with it, or God forbid, a feeling or opinion about it, well, how dare you? Again, they believe they're special and therefore entitled to special treatment. They're entitled to behave however they please. And as far as they're concerned, you have no right whatsoever to have a legitimate feeling response to their nonsense. Never mind speak up and actually hold them accountable for what they've been up to. In addition, they spend a lot of time and energy trying to hide who they really are, as I said, by playing the role of hero or savior. The message they work so hard to convey is, I'm such a good person, so generous, kind, decent, and giving. When in reality, their real motivation is self-serving and has a lot more to do with manipulating and controlling your perception than actually doing anything out of the sheer kindness of their own heart. Now, comment below and let me know whether or not you can relate to any of this. Do you know anyone who fits the bill? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in one of my coaching programs, there's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. If that's you, the link is in the description below this video. And there's also a new free gift section in the description below this video, so be sure to avail yourself of that as well. Now, with all of that said, what is the one predictable thing that covert narcissists always do? They play the victim card. They'll play victim in particular to circumstances that they themselves have created and perpetuate. They are, in fact, the poster child for the perpetual victim. Always, no matter what has gone on, you can count on it. And this is true no matter how appallingly they themselves have behaved. No matter how many times they drop the ball, screw up, disappoint, or deliberately and intentionally hurt you or others, somehow they always manage to land on the victim side of the story. And what's confusing about the covert narcissist is they can be pretty good at feigning empathy. So unless you know the signs, it's easy to be duped by this master manipulator. Certainly the first few times anyway. Now, that said, understand that feigning empathy is a manipulative ploy, and it sounds like this. I feel so bad, just terrible about what's going on, while simultaneously having all manner of excuses, justification, and rationalization designed specifically to cast themselves as the victim to the very circumstances they themselves have created, and again, even perpetuate. Now, this is classic behavior for the covert narcissist. Their whole MO revolves around creating and maintaining their false image, casting themselves as such a well-intended, innocent, and good-hearted human, no matter how badly they behave. Somehow, they always manage to make sure that you know all the reasons why they're actually the good guy or girl, and you've completely misunderstood them and their motives. Again, how many times do you have to have that experience before you start recognizing there's a pattern of behavior at play? And it fundamentally boils down to this person is going through life as a world-class victim. Again, no matter how poorly they themselves have behaved or what they themselves have done to create and perpetuate the circumstances they claim to be victimized by. Now, you'll also know them by the number of times you have so-called miscommunication. And it goes like this. They say A, you move forward taking A at face value, and them at their word, then they claim that they never said A, which often results in you not only looking bad, that's right, you've been set up, but also this so-called miscommunication has the added advantage for the covert narcissist of leaving you feeling confused, doubting and second-guessing yourself and your own perception of reality. The first time anyway. And listen, anyone can have a miscommunication, but there's a big difference between a one-off or occasional miscommunication and a pattern of behavior on repeat. At a certain point, you have to acknowledge what you're dealing with. Either something's going on with them and they may very well need medical attention, or you're being manipulated, gaslit, lied to, lied about. And if you don't know any better, fully duped. And if you want to learn more about gaslighting, you can watch this video here. Now, the point being, without question, what you're dealing with the covert narcissist is the master of the dupe, until you know the signs and what to be on the lookout for anyway. Now, again, know up front, these are never black or white issues, which of course can make covert narcissism a little tricky to spot, in particular in the beginning when you're first getting to know someone and they're on their best behavior. You're being presented with the mask, the false persona, and all of the emotional manipulation and perception manipulation that goes on in the early stages with people of this nature. But again, when you know the signs, it can make it a lot easier for you to discern exactly who it is you're dealing with. Now that said, don't be hard on yourself if you've missed the signs early on, or if it took you some time to start wondering why things weren't adding up. The truth is, even the most highly trained mental health professionals will admit to missing the early warning signs with both overt and covert narcissists. They're not always easy to identify, especially at first. But my intent with this video is to give you some solid telltale signs that will help you determine who and what it is that you're actually dealing with, so you can take care of yourself and avoid the pitfalls that come with having someone like this in your life. And the truth is, although destructive narcissism in general can be difficult to spot, covert narcissism can be even more challenging. Why? Well, because, as I said at the top of the video, these people present quite differently than your classic, your typical grandiose narcissist. Just know that covert narcissism, which is also known as the shy, closet, hungry, or vulnerable narcissist, is just as dangerous and destructive as their more overt counterparts, and therefore best avoided if at all possible. They don't show up with the obvious sense of entitlement, superiority, and grandiosity. Rather, like I said, they present as being very shy, timid, insecure, often self-effacing even, and sometimes even highly anxious, in particular about how others see them and what others are thinking about them. That's a big preoccupation for the covert narcissist, which is why they go to such great lengths to manipulate your perception of them, and also why they become so triggered, bitter, and resentful when their best efforts to convince you that there's someone they aren't successful, and they know you've seen a glimpse behind the mask. When this happens, brace yourself because they will retaliate. Now, being the cowards that they are, their preferred method of retaliation will be to poison the minds and hearts of others towards you if they think they can get away with it. Distance will be your best friend in this scenario. Anyone who knows you and is worth their salt, knows who you are, won't fall for the covert narcissist nonsense and their BS narrative. And anyone who takes what the covert narcissist says for cash without so much as giving you the benefit of the doubt or the benefit of a conversation, well, in my opinion, good riddance. Let them align with the covert narcissist if that's what they want to do. They probably deserve one another. You just do you, boo, unapologetically. And when people fall away from your life, in particular in this fashion, let them. Rejection is protection, no matter who they are. And don't forget, the covert narcissist grapples with high anxiety, even if they're really good at hiding it. They twist emotionally, internally, a lot. When I think of those that I've known personally in my own life, they are truly sad and tortured souls. And for that reason, I have a lot of compassion for these people. But I have learned the hard way to have compassion from a distance. Because make no mistake, as much as they may appear to be harmless and fragile, sweet, soft, good, and kind, the truth is, they're anything but. In fact, what they really are is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Cross one, and you'll find out very quickly exactly what you're dealing with. They are absolutely, without question, just as lacking in empathy, lacking in conscience, carrying an irrational sense of entitlement, and a false sense of superiority. Although their delusions of grandeur and grandiosity may be more internalized than externalized, like your classic overt narcissist, make no mistake, those delusions of grandeur and tendencies to manipulate and harm and exploit are alive and well. So you'll always be better off if you can keep your distance. Fundamentally, what it boils down to when you're dealing with someone who fits the profile of a covert narcissist is you're dealing with a severely wounded inner child who is absolutely incapable of doing the real work necessary to heal and grow up emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. In spite of outward appearances and all of their best efforts to portray themselves as adults, actually adulting, if you get close enough, this will become very obvious. They show up in their relationships as childish, jealous, envious, entitled ingrates. In fact, in addition to their perpetual victim stance, those are the words that I would use to most accurately describe the covert narcissist that I've encountered in my own life. They are best described as entitled, childish, jealous and envious ingrates who love to be seen as the victim. This describes the covert narcissist personality pattern most accurately in my view. In particular, once the mask slips and you get a peek at the real deal beneath the phony facade they work so hard to present to the world. And what can be most dangerous about dealing with these individuals, especially when you're an empath and you have the desire to serve and help and really go to bat for people, is it's easy to mistake them for an untreated codependent who might have some narcissistic traits, someone who just needs some help and support. But there's more to it than they're just being this deeply wounded and very insecure codependent person. They're actually a whole lot more dangerous and destructive than that, so beware. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have over 300 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse and, more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, freedom, and abundance. And if you want to go deeper with me, go to www.tamiemcoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience, and learn how you can become my client.